Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time to update the Oscar predictions. It's June, it's post-Cannes. We haven't updated them since post-Cannes, but we did give a post-Cannes update on where we're at, and this will reflect that, but it'll also reflect some more news and, trailers that we've been getting since then. I think it's time. I think it's time for an update. Let's look at the Best Picture category, because Sinners has settled. Sentimental Value's been seen. The last Best Picture winner to premiere in the fall was Nomadland. It has been a very recent thing that films are premiering at Cannes or just in the summer, like Oppenheimer, South by Southwest, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Coda, Sundance. So it's very fair to look at the Cannes movies and look at other things that have premiered Sinners and say, hey, let's just put one of those at number one. And I do think that both of those films, Sinners and Sentimental Value, have a shot to win. They have a case.
They're very strong. Both of them are very, very strong, guaranteed contenders. Call your mom and tell her it's a lock. That's how much can guarantee. I'm going to keep Sinners at number one. And you're finally going to come around and put Sinners at number one.
Right after Sentimental Value premiered, I was like, oh, I guess I could put that at number one. Like, I could see, an actor or two winning. Maybe Renata Reinsve, Stellan Skarsgård, even Elle Fanning perhaps could win.
That's the thing.
Screenplay could win. Maybe director. Oh. If it's their favorite movie, they can give it a lot of awards. It's going to get 3 to 4 acting nominations. It's going to be a heavily, heavily nominated drama, like Banshees of Inisherin, how that got like 9 nominations despite it being kind of a straightforward drama.
I think I think Sentimental Value is like Marriage Story, except that it's going to do a little better.
And it'll get a director nomination because it premiered at Cannes.
Yeah. And also, I feel like at this point, knowing that Sinners was a fucking unicorn in terms of the box office, like how it had unprecedented legs, and it's made like a comparable amount of money to Oppenheimer, like domestically. Which is amazing. So it is a sensation. It is being discussed and dissected as it should be. It's a very layered film. It's very rich.
It is like the highest grossing original non-biopic movie in 5 years, or it's like top 2 or something along those lines. Like, it's way up there. And at the end of the year, when we're looking at like what people consider to be like the movie of 2025, it could definitely end up being Sinners. It was a movie that made a splash. Critics loved it. Audiences loved it. It's kind of reminding me of Everything Everywhere All at Once in terms of the across-the-board love and the Guild potential sweepability. Because I could easily see this being a film that wins WGA, PGA, DGA, SAG Ensemble. It's not even that hard.
The only thing it doesn't have going for it that Everything Everywhere All at Once did was we could easily see Ke Huy Quan being the supporting actor sweeper of the year. And that goes a long way. Winning an acting prize goes a long way towards helping you win Best Picture. I don't think Sinners is going to win an acting prize.
It may get nominated for 1 or 2, but it's on the cusp for both. At least at this point, it's looking kind of on the cusp for 1 or 2 acting nominations.
We just have to see what people settle on. I think that it will get an acting nomination, but we don't know how it's going to settle, and no one's going to win for it, right? But Ryan Coogler, being the auteur at the center of this film, basically pulled off the filmmaking achievement of the year. And I say that preemptively, I don't know what's coming out the rest of the year, but good fucking God if anybody beats that scene that happens in the middle. The lied to you scene that everybody knows about that is going to circulate the Twitter timeline for the rest of the year. I will be absolutely gobsmacked. It's not going to be topped. It just won't. That's like a once in a fucking decade scene. So, and it's an amazing case for him to win the directing prize.
Sinners would win screenplay, director, picture, and text.
Also, he would be the first black director to win the directing Oscar.
The last film that won Best Picture without an acting win was Parasite. Mm-hmm. And so, I guess that's something. But still, the fact that Sinners may win SAG Ensemble and that it may get a casting nomination, I think these things kind of make up for it. If you win SAG Ensemble, you kind of make up for that. So I'm just sensing that, at the end of the year, critics are actually going to give this movie their award for Best Picture, a lot of them, maybe most of them. Yeah. Maybe it'll be split between that Sentimental Value. Maybe something else will crop up in the fall fests. But Sinners is a very good case. The fact that it can win screenplay and director, and the guilds are going to love it. Don't look to BAFTA to love this. Internationally, it didn't make as much money. I still think it'll get a lot of nominations at Globe and BAFTA, but it may not win. I mean, it could win drama, depending on what's in comedy.
I think we learned our lesson last year. We don't need to look at BAFTA or Globe to see what's winning Best Picture.
Yes.
And honestly, Critics' Choice and the guilds, but mostly the guilds, are more important. Fucking fast forward through all the fucking Golden Globes, BAFTA, whatever. Just look at the guilds and what they might do. They might give it SAG Ensemble.
The Guilds
Sentimental
are-
Value is a contender for Ensemble. You can watch out for it.
Sentimental Value is not winning SAG Ensemble. That's like thinking Banshees is going to win SAG Ensemble.
No, I feel like it's probably not going to win. It's less of an ensemble.
Think about this, man. The Guilds, they may nominate Sentimental Value in many places, but that's an international film. Sinners is more likely to win Guilds. Like, it just is because it's an American film. And it's also true by Critics' Choice. They kind of hate foreign films a little bit too. They did give Roma Best Picture, and sometimes movies transcend that. Sentimental Value could, but I think the critics are going to go really hard for Sinners. Like, it's just getting them so excited, and in some ways it feels like this year's Oppenheimer. I know I said it's like this year's Everything Everywhere, but it's also kind of like Oppenheimer in that it just is like the most acclaimed movie of the year, perhaps. Maybe some movies will have higher Metacritic, but at the end of the year, what will top the list? What's going to be at number one?
Yeah, what's going to top the... You're right.
Get Out had like an 83 on Metacritic in the beginning of the year, and then it was number one on the critics list. So these kind of things can happen. Everything Everywhere, 81 Metacritic, easily was topping.
It does feel silly that we're like arguing about what's going to win Best Picture based on two very strong Best Picture contenders, but I also just want to point out, like, usually when the end of the year comes around, there's only like 3 to 4 films that are really meaty, really beefy Best Picture movies. And these two, I feel very confident, are going to be in the top 5, like at that level. Is it possible another contender comes along and sweeps us off our feet even more than those films? Yeah, it is. But like you said, Fall Festival, Oscar bait, hitting the ground running there is like less of a guarantee these days. Yeah, I think Sinners is such a unicorn of a film that it will be very hard to beat. So I think at this point, the only reasonable thing is to do number 1, number 2, Sentimental Value, Sinners, like however you want to do it. I could make a case for why Sentimental Value could win Best Picture. I don't see it as having quite as strong of a push and an urgency as Sinners. So that's why I don't have it at number 1. But that thing is a contender for screenplay and acting prizes. And I get that it parallels Anora, right? Like, premiered at Cannes and Neon had it the whole time, and they're going to release it in the fall, and they know what to do with it. They know exactly how to make that campaign work. They could just follow the same formula they did with Anora and win Best Picture, theoretically. I would have it at number 1 if it weren't for Sinners.
Yeah, Sinners just made a huge cultural impact. Begonia, haven't heard a thing from this movie. Still feel really good about it. Yeah. Nothing new to say. Yorgos Lanthimos, I see no reason to doubt. It's not Kinds of Kindness, okay?
Yeah.
Marty Supreme, nothing new to say. Position for December. Maybe it'll be Fall Fest. Maybe it'll be more of a commercial thing. Probably Fall Fest. Wicked for Good. We have a trailer for it, and yet I have nothing new to say. It still looks like it's gonna live up for people.
I'm a little nervous about Wicked for Good, but I didn't see like Wicked coming, so I don't know how I'm supposed to see like the sequel coming exactly.
It's safe enough for now. I do agree though, like
it feels 50-50 to me though. Like it could really go one way or another. If people see it and are like, oh well, the number 1 is better, but we still like number 2 a lot. It could just have a weird domino effect where it gets like very few Oscar nominations, like just limited to craft categories. I could also see it people being like, oh my god, like the performances are even better and it's just as good as the first one. I feel like it'll get less nominations, but the real thing I have a question mark about is like what happens to Ariana Grande? Like what happens to Cynthia Erivo?
Jay Kelly, this seems like Netflix is positioning it to be one of their top 2 contenders. They released a couple images from it already. It seems like most of the major awards pundits have the movie in. Why is that? Probably because they've heard that like Netflix is going hard. That's just a guess of mine.
And that film definitely has the potential for some acting prizes, right?
Oh, yes.
And Adam Sandler could really give Stellan Skarsgård a run for his money if he's as good as everybody is anticipating he will be in this film.
George Clooney hasn't been nominated in a while. Like the ensemble is huge on this. Laura Dern could be very good.
Yeah, I think I've changed my mind on this, saying it's not going to be like early Baumbach. It's going to be more new Marriage Story Baumbach, a little more ambitious. It might just be one of the pleasures of the Fall Fest. Maybe this could win TIFF. That's kind of how I see it, is like it could potentially be a TIFF winner.
Deliver Me From Nowhere. This just got a trailer, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. Jeremy Allen White, he's sweaty. He's going crazy on stage, and he's also, being introspective, and he's actually singing. Yeah. We know that he's getting nominated.
Oh yeah,
and we know that Complete Unknown, Elvis, and Bohemian Rhapsody were all propelled into Best Picture off of that lead performance as well.
Yeah.
So I just don't see a reason to doubt it. Like I know it's Scott Cooper, but he's not like a problem. Like he's a perfectly fine filmmaker.
I mean, look, this is a formula that has worked very well. When you put an actor on a stage and you dress them up like the person they're supposed to be, and they sing and dance around, people go nuts for that shit. And this film actually seems like similar to A Complete Unknown, like that it will be a genuinely good film. It's not a Bohemian Rhapsody. It's almost, dangerously similar to A Complete Unknown. Like, are we being blinded by our own bias and just saying, oh, that's this year's A Complete Unknown? But what else am I supposed to do? Like, I have to put this in.
I also just like that it's a movie about him hunkering down and looking inward to create like his masterpiece. It's a much better subject than, well, it's about Bruce Springsteen.
It's going to be a solid, handsomely made film with an Oscar-nominated lead performance. I don't see how that doesn't get in. People will mostly think it's very good and agreeable, even if it's not the best film of the year. I think that gets you a Best Picture nomination in a year of 10. Thankfully, I don't think we'll be getting a surprise director nomination off of just Scott Cooper's name alone.
No.
But this should do quite well.
One battle after another. This has been test screened out the wazoo. And, we keep hearing, like, very good things about it. It's not going to be people's favorite PTA, but it may get people excited. PTA's got so much industry credit at this point that he can squeeze into a field of 10, maybe not even off of his best movie. I mean, people were kind of divided about Licorice Pizza. Critics not really,
right.
But audiences a little bit more.
It could be similar to that in that it gets like a very good Metascore. I've no doubt, honestly, that the Metascore is going to be great for this. I think critics will absolutely see something in it because they tend to see something in all of PTA's films, even the most divisive ones.
I could see it being like in the 80s and not like a 90s territory though.
Or
even high 70s because maybe critics are going to be...
Even Inherent Vice didn't get 80s.
Critics maybe raise an eyebrow at a little bit of a more commercial appeal of the film.
I think the biggest worry for this film is box office. I'm sure you've heard us echo this throughout the season. I've come around to a more moderate position on One Battle After Another. I had it really high up in the beginning of the year and then I took it way down. This film might just be Best Picture, Best Screenplay, maybe Supporting Actor,
Score,
and just be like solidly in there, like has enough steam, enough momentum, enough fans to get it in. PTA's name is pretty huge. And just say like, hey, that's enough to get into a year of 10. I still don't expect it to be a top 5. 2 to 5 nominations? Why not?
The DiCaprio PTA collab duo, like that's not going to get in. I mean, I don't know. And then we have It Was Just an Accident, which really is just going to, if that gets in, it's squeezing in there, and it's squeezing in off of maybe BAFTA putting it in screenplay and director, and maybe critics groups going for it in screenplay director or best film categories.
Yeah. I think this is somewhere between Anatomy of a Fall and Drive My Car. Perhaps even Triangle of Sadness, but I also want to leave the possibility that this maybe just doesn't get nominated. Outside of the Palm win, I would say it was one of the most buzzy films, but it wasn't the most buzzy film. So it wasn't like an obvious Palm win.
But the win itself is going to do wonders for it.
This is a reason for Neon to give this a robust Oscar campaign, and here's the path I could see for it. I think if this gets a nomination at Golden Globes anywhere outside of international feature, that's very strong. Whether it's in just best drama, maybe even it gets like a best screenplay nomination, that would indicate to me that it's going to end up in best picture somehow.
Or director, hey.
Could be a director, based on Payal Kapadia's nomination. And I could see this getting a nomination at BAFTA in like screenplay or director, not in best film. And honestly, even if you just did that, I think this could sneak into Best Picture in a year of 10. I feel like it will do well at the US indie box office. It will have enough hype. It's a very good film. It's less of a film that people are likely to give like a 10 out of 10 to, at least from, the Cannes audience. I think it's more of like an 8 or a 9, and it's like solidly in that range. Like most people will feel agreeable that this is a very good film. And mostly I think what could carry it to the Oscar nomination is the narrative for Jafar Panahi. So it's not something that I'm like gung-ho, oh, this is going to definitely get in, it's going to be this year's Anatomy of a Fall. No, I think it's more slight than that, and it will be up to critics and voting bodies like BAFTA and Golden Globes to go a little bit outside, those little more internationally curious voting bodies to indicate to us that the Oscars will follow suit with a Best Picture nomination.
It's not getting Critics' Choice. It's not getting PGA.
I really would like to see a Golden Globe drama nomination.
My thing is that I think that the director's branch is really looking to nominate Panahi here. Like, they nominated Vinterberg for another round. I mean, I could even see this getting into director and then not picture, or director and picture and not screenplay. Like, that director's branch could carry the movie in, because they're going to say, whoa, like, you gave the palm to Panahi. Like, I like Panahi. Like, I'm going to nominate him for this.
Yeah.
They're going to want to show their taste here. They have an opportunity. And it's also his second highest rated film on Letterboxd right now.
Yeah. Now, I think this is important. If you look on Letterboxd, the film had a 3.8. It was peaking with 4 out of 5. And it slowly started to lean more on the side of 4.5 out of 5 than a 3.5. And so I think that like 4.5 stack is going to slightly grow and has already overtaken the 3.5s. I know this is very like, seems like we're just getting into too much minutia, but this did happen also with Anatomy of a Fall. Like you saw the letterbox curve improve slowly. And
it also happened with Worst Person in the World. Post Cannes, sometimes the letterbox curve looks even better. And I think that people will now go into the film expecting one of the best films of the year. Will they get it? Like, are people going to be a little let down? Like, oh, I don't know if this was one of my favorite Palm winners. Or are people going to say, yeah, that was like one of the top 10 movies of the year for me?
Yeah, I don't know. I can only speak for myself and say I thought it was very, very good. I was between an 8 and a 9 on it, but I settled on like a very good 8. To me, it was still like potential for, okay, that's one of the best films I've seen this year. I don't have trouble seeing people giving this like a 4.5 out of 5. So, and that would be like your best territories. I do think it's a little bit of a problem that people don't seem to be giving it like their fullest rating, their highest rating, because you do need that passion to get into the
but
Oscar
critics will.
competition.
Like, for example, the International Society of Film Critics is going to go nuts for this film because they went nuts for No Bears. They love No Bears. You got to look at New York and LA and see if, you know, they give it a major prize. That's usually a good signal for these films that are looking to get enough critic and international support. And I feel like this Palm win for Panahi, putting him on this pedestal, like, critics might want to cash in on that because they appreciate Panahi and they want to show that. And that could be the case with, you know, the director's branch and perhaps the writing branch. But, you know, the cap for this film is those 3 nominations, and then if it's submitted by not Iran, because it's not getting submitted by Iran, it can get an international nomination.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like Drive My Car, Triangle of Sadness, or even Nickel Boys, right? So that's the kind of thing we're dealing with here. I mean, the nomination ceiling is low. I don't want to make it seem like it's a lock, but at this point in the year, it's a safe enough bet to have this in the bottom 5 to 10.
For the number 10 slot, I don't know what to do with Rivals of Mziah King anymore, because at this point, I'm like, okay, so nobody has acquired the movie. Like, and then the other thing I think is, okay, I understand why Neon hasn't acquired it. They have a lot of movies. A24 seems to have their work cut out for them. What studio needs this? And then you think, I feel like Searchlight could get this. Why hasn't Searchlight gotten it? Maybe they fucking believe in Rental Family, right? Like, maybe Rental Family is it for them and they know it.
Matt from Fantasy Film Ball, a channel you all should subscribe to. He's also a buddy of mine. We talked at Cannes and he convinced me actually that this film was in trouble. His argument is thus: you don't go into fall festivals without a distributor and then come out in time to be released for that year's Academy Awards. You know, I need to see a studio pick this up and say, this is my horse, I'm betting on it. I'm going into TIFF strong. I'm going to win the People's Choice Award or something close to that.
They don't have to win the People's Choice. I just need
At this point, I think studios already have their minds made up about what contenders they want to push, and what might happen with this, and this is Matt's argument, is it could go to TIFF, do very well. Someone picks it up and says, I'm going to release that next year. That seems like a likely scenario because, again, like they have their plates full. Look at what fucking Neon did with Life of Chuck. That didn't have a distributor. Went to TIFF, did extremely well, got picked up for the next year.
Well, that's because
and that means
they had a Nora, though.
I know, but but some other studio could have picked them up and said, we're doing an awards campaign this year, but all the other studios apparently said, sorry, we're not going to do that. Or Neon just offered them more money. I kind of doubt that. I think other studios weren't trying to bite it because they were just like, well, we have this and we don't have room for 2 or something like that. So this pattern of you do well at TIFF, you gain a lot of buzz, but you come out the next year usually isn't very good. I mean, it worked for Sound of Fucking Metal, but that was during the pandemic.
That's the only reason it worked for that movie.
Yeah, that's the only reason it worked. So this film is in trouble in the sense that it's been shopped around, like no one's getting it. I think studios kind of have their plates full.
Even Kiss of the Spider-Woman like figured out a distributor by now. If I have a better argument for something, I'm going to put somebody else into a category is kind of how I'm feeling about Mziah King right now.
And you know what's interesting? I feel like in the post-COVID era, I have to think in terms of politics more, like studio politics, because you really do see some examples where it is so important that a studio is prioritizing your film and believes in it and can give it like a solid release strategy. COVID, there were so many exceptions for films that didn't make sense to get into Best Picture or didn't have a strategy that made sense and nonetheless did well, but like that's not happening anymore. That's why like Life of Chuck doesn't make sense anymore. Past Lives, A24 kind of experimented with releasing that in the summer, and it only got 2 nominations, and it had to be a fucking masterpiece to do that. Sing Sing couldn't even fucking get in last year for with an unconventional strategy and being the studio's number 2. Even if the film has what it takes to get Oscar nominations, and I see no reason to believe it doesn't. I think the studios and thinking about it in terms of politicking is what is keeping it out of my top 10 right now.
Well, mainly to me, it's just if it doesn't come out. If a studio picked it up, I would be predicting it. Do you want to predict it still, like at number 10? Or do you want to go with the Rental Family? Because honestly...
Family. Whoa.
At this point, Searchlight has nothing else, and they've made no effort
Right.
so far seen to try to put something else in.
We are waiting for Searchlight to put their eggs all the way behind a film, and it makes sense what you're saying. Like Rental Family, maybe they're just holding out for that. Maybe they believe that is like a TIFF People's Choice film, and they're just ready to take that horse into the stable. But I do want to challenge you on thus. You have to consider Avatar, bitch.
Oh, right. That might be safer.
Listen, I put Avatar in at number 10, and I mean, I could be convinced otherwise. I will say, especially if Wicked goes the other way and it doesn't get a Best Picture nomination, I feel like Avatar is positioned quite well to go in there and be that like late releasing film, that blockbuster that gets into the Oscar race. But again, we don't know what's going to happen with Wicked. And I do feel like they're a little bit like coming up against each other as sequels that are coming out late in the year and are trying to make $1 billion.
I mean, Avatar will make $1 billion. Again, like, The Way of Water didn't do that well. It was like maybe 9 or 10. The Way of Water was exciting because it was finally the Avatar sequel is here. And now, I guess you can't underestimate that people are excited about Avatar.
People are kind of jazzed about Avatar now.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm saying, will this feel like more of the same, and then there's just less urgency to nominate it? Because
literally
there's really
the same argument for Wicked, right?
No, but Wicked is, like, this is the part 2 of the movie. It's not going to exceed the nominations that the last one got, is it?
Right.
So it's production design, sound, visual effects, a shit package. You can get all those nominations without Best Picture pretty easily. Like, that movie was bottom 3. If more exciting movies exist, people will be more excited about them.
I believe that the Critics' Choice will go for Avatar.
Yes, because it's early in the year.
And PGA.
But think about right, even Dune 2. Like that, Dune 2 was better, but people were more jazzed to nominate something like The Substance because The Substance was something that felt new. And Dune, as much as people loved it, it wasn't as exciting. So I'm saying Avatar, even less exciting and even less critically acclaimed than Dune 2.
You know, I mean, also Avatar could also just get like the lowest rating of all the films, or it could just get a lower rating than Way of Water, and people are like, oh, okay.
Or like the same. I mean, Way of Water got like a 70. It didn't even break 80 on Rotten
Tomatoes. Look, we have to just acknowledge, it's a very hard film to predict right now. It's very hard to predict whether Avatar is getting in.
But I'm saying,
if 3 fucking Avatar movies got in, that would actually be stunning.
So you have that as your option. You have
It's an option.
the Amazon MGM contender After the Hunt,
Right.
which there are mixed reports on how much people like that movie from test screenings and stuff.
But it has some serious acting prospects and a screenplay prospect that I think will be in the conversation. I think it'll get an acting nomination somewhere, at least with Best Actress. You also got Iowa Debris and Andrew Garfield in supporting roles. And all of those seem like very solid prospects.
Yeah, but you every movie that...
It's kind of Oscar baity.
But, buddy, every movie that has acting prospects hinges on whether or not the movie hits for people. So
yeah,
maybe only Julia Roberts happens.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
Steve Jobs, right? So this
Okay,
could be kind of like
2,
Steve
though.
Jobs.
You can't say that it must get 3. Yeah, I could get that. Maybe it's this year's Doubt.
Doubt would have gotten in Best Picture if it was a year of time.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And it's also a similar subject, isn't it?
No, I think After the Hunt makes sense. Like Amazon's main contender, right?
But Amazon kind of sucks.
Do they have another contender though?
Amazon the past 2 years got Screenplay, Picture, and they got American Fiction, and that actually did pretty well. Amazon has no other contenders, that's true. And After the Hunt will probably be a hot ticket later on this year, but why aren't I hearing unanimously great things about this movie, like, at test screenings? Like, why shouldn't I be hearing that right now? I can't imagine where this movie would go wrong in my head.
So maybe you should just put it in and just be a little objective about it.
Or I could say, look, it's late enough into the year, like, we're not in March anymore, like... Searchlight is a staple of the Best Picture category.
Yeah. I mean, what is it about Rental Family, now that you've had your little Searchlight rant? What is it about this movie that makes you think it's going to get in?
A heartwarming TIFF movie.
Yes.
That has some, supporting nominations and maybe Brendan Fraser as a lead nomination.
The plot is a down-and-out actor, Brendan Fraser, living in Tokyo, is hired as a token American guy for a Japanese rental family company. So they basically like rent him out to different families who need him for various things. This is an actual common practice in Japan where like they might want to rent people to be at someone's funeral to like fill it out more. That's a real thing. So it's kind of ripe for comedy, right?
It's also
and
ripe
it also
for,
seems very sentimental.
You bring people together from different backgrounds and you feel so good about that. Like,
Yeah. And maybe Brendan Fraser's really good in it.
It's probably a
Maybe he's the best. Maybe this is number 2 best actor nomination.
It's probably a Telluride Toronto hit. Yeah. Why does Searchlight have this movie? That's the thing. It's like,
well, they have a bunch of movies that don't do anything.
Yeah, but why do they have this drama that only makes sense to have, like, if it's an Oscar movie?
That's not necessarily true. They have plenty of movies that don't make sense.
I guess so. Life of Chuck, I'm done with. Hamnet, I'm just gonna say the same thing that I've been saying. I don't think Hamnet's gonna quite be it, although it very well could be, okay? It's very Oscar bait. You have no other choice. We could say that there could be another international contender coming out of Venice.
Yeah, the 3rd international contender this year.
Yeah, but nobody has no other choice. It hasn't been acquired. Who's going to get it?
Maybe Mubi would get it.
That's true.
At this point,
they had a
being so
decision to
aggressive.
leave.
Mubi doesn't have an awards movie right now. They don't. Die My Love is not really an awards film.
If No Other Choice is great, I may put it in. It's sight unseen, though. Frankenstein has a teaser, and I think this looks a little bit like visual effects heavy at times, but it does seem Del Toro's being really faithful to the novel and the emotion of the story, which is great. Oscar Isaac looks like he'll be very good in it. I am sensing like tech contender and not best picture still. That's just where I'm at. Like, but I get if you have the movie in your 10, it makes a lot of sense.
Netflix has an enormous slate this year. I mean, Jay Kelly, Frankenstein, Ballad of a Small Player.
A House of Dynamite, which is the title of Catherine Bigelow's newest film. We may be getting a trailer for this sometime soon, and that is a movie that could just catapult right up to the Best Picture conversation, get acting nominations, screenplay nomination, editing nomination.
Netflix's slate is enormous. I mean, that's also why I don't want to put Frankenstein at number 1. I already have Jay Kelly in there.
Anne Lee is another film that doesn't have a distributor yet. I'm really excited for the Venice premiere, but we still haven't heard much about it. What else are we considering? The Lost Bus, I'm kind of done with. The quietest trailer drop, like, does nobody care? Ballad of a Small Player should be going to the fall fests. Ella McKay is 20th Century. They already have Deliver Me From Nowhere and Avatar, but that could be a fall festival player. I don't think Sorry Baby's really going anywhere. The screenplay nomination is still possible, though. I would love to see that. F1's done.
I think Late Fame is still a potential breakout, especially for lead actor Willem Dafoe. I also think The Secret Agent is possible, and it could potentially get lead actor. I do think Wagner Moura actually is kind of a contender, like especially if the field slims out a little bit or you don't have like those obvious lead actor in Best Picture nominees. I think he could slide in there. I think critics could go out for him. This is a very different film than I'm Still Here, but I do think it matters that Brazil had this huge moment last year. It makes people more interested in seeing like what Brazilian cinema has to offer. Though I'm Still Here definitely felt more like a down the line Oscar film, whereas Secret Agent, I mean, this is Kleber Mendoza Filho. His films are quite intellectual. They're a little like strange. They're kind of quirky. And this one is very long. It has a very deliberate pace. It's quite a slow burn, especially for the first half. Absolutely, it's a film that critics are going to go out for and critics will love, like they already are loving it. But it does take a little bit more effort for like the average person to get into the film. Maybe critics will decide like this is a priority. I have my doubts about that, but I do think Wagner Moura could be a contender. It does have some awards elements, like it being a period drama, it being a historically relevant film. I have my eye out for it, but like it would be kind of crazy for me to put 3 neon films in there, right? So I just think this is number 3 on the pecking order.
And what about 4 films on the pecking order? What about Sarat? Sarat was one of the most acclaimed movies from Cannes. I just want to say, given the amount that people love the movie, what if it's The Substance?
I don't rule out that Sarat could get a Best Picture nomination, but it does seem really unlikely given, again, Neon's stacked slate. I was basically thinking, I don't think this is going to win Palm, but if it does win Palm, I will consider maybe saying it's a Best Picture movie. But the only nominations it could get is, again, like picture, director, screenplay, international, and score. Sarat's a great film. It's very memorable. It's very exciting and interesting.
I just don't know that it can climb to the top of the international contenders. Even the filmmaker's not that well known. This is his big movie.
Right. It's probably getting nominated for international, but I can't even see that's a guarantee. Life of Chuck, I have it at number 21. because I just do not think it's happening. Paramount has The Running Man, which is the only film I can even see being potentially a contender, but they don't really try to produce Oscar movies. I mean, they kind of tried to push September 5 last year, but didn't really work.
They're like, they don't have to have a contender.
No, but The Running Man is there, and, you know, there's always surprises, right? Like, we've already had a surprise with Sinners this year, so why not consider that we could be surprised with an Edgar Wright movie? And this does have an award season release date. Maybe. I mean, it seems like mostly it's a fun action film, fun thriller.
Some people are considering Son of Falling. I think that's not happening after the premiere. Like, that is a critics movie, and
no way.
It didn't get the kind of reviews. Didn't like win the Palm or anything.
That would be definitively the strangest movie to get nominated for Best Picture, and it just wouldn't happen. I deleted it from my list after I saw it.
Nouvelle Vague is also not happening. That's just too slight, and it's not going to make any money.
But some people do think, you know, maybe we have to dispel this. Like, some people think that Nouvelle Vague is a Netflix contender, but like, again, first, look at their slate. It's already stacked. And second, that film didn't premiere to like rave reviews. It was just well received. It's also not that ambitious of a film. It's what you'd expect. Like, it's the making of Breathless, and that's kind of it. It's not a super ambitious film.
Them acquiring it is just because they have a relationship with Richard Linklater that they're continuing. Like, it's not that, oh, they're planting this is one of their biggest like awards films.
I think that would just be a mistake. Like, they can sink money into that awards campaign, and I do not think it would stick.
The Smashing Machine, I think, is not happening. I think that's going to be a little crazy for people. I don't think highest to lowest is a thing.
What about Preparation for the Next Life? We got to talk about that.
I have nothing to say. I know so little about it. Basically, I've heard that the novel has like kind of mixed reviews, and for it to be like a Nickel Boys kind of thing, like, you know, that was the source material was so strong. You can look at it and say that it's checking some of the boxes of like subject matter that might pique people's interest, and it seems emotional. That's all I can say about it. I'm not going to go off that alone.
It would be pretty under the radar. Like, it would be very much a sleeper contender. It doesn't have a distributor, I don't believe. Is This Thing On? I think that might actually come out this year. Bradley Cooper's film. It seems a little more light fare, more of a comedy. I think that'll be good. Michael, what happened to Michael? We already explained
Fuck
this.
Michael, it's done.
It's kind of done.
It's not coming out, or they're scraping, scrapping together like a part one.
It's gonna like come out next year, or it's gonna do part one this year. Like, either situation would be abysmal.
Get that away from me.
Train Dreams, that's funny. You know, people thinking Netflix is what was gonna like go all in on Train Dreams at Sundance. Like, in retrospect, really, with this stacked of a slate, they're gonna go all in on Train Dreams? Absolutely not, right?
Oh yeah, a lot of their things would have to fall for that to happen.
Eddington is dead, right? Eddington died at Cannes. Like, there's no way that would be an Oscar movie. The Wave, like, we kind of thought The Wave could be something. That's probably dead. Done. You know, it got very mixed reviews, The Wave. Like, some people love it. Some people think it's just not good at all.
Bro, that's out.
Weapons.
No.
Could that be like the breakout horror film of this year? I'm pretty excited for it.
Sinners is the breakout horror movie of the year.
That's true, but maybe there's room for two. Some like British D-Day movie called Pressure.
Oh yeah,
Andrew Scott.
Yeah,
but, you know, that's in there
at this
somewhere.
point, I'm not really. I mean, it's focused.
The History of Sound, also R.I.P. Died at Cannes. Just too slight of a movie, not very exciting, kind of slow, kind of dull.
The drama could be an exciting one from A24 that to premiere at the fest. Apparently, there was a test screening, and it's got like some twists and turns, and it's been said Robert Pattinson is really good in it, and Christopher Borgley. You know, we shouldn't doubt like. He is a really exciting filmmaker right now and interested in making some wild original stories. So I'm excited for that. I think it'll be a buzzy festival film. I don't know that it will be an awards thing, but, you know, on the radar.
There's the untitled Chrissy Martin biopic. Darren Aronofsky's caught stealing. Like, we probably don't even need to explain, but that's like not. It doesn't look like
it's commercial. It's coming out in August. Kiss of the Spider Woman. I'd be shocked if this like got rejuvenated at TIFF to like a level of getting a Best Picture nominee. I think it's maybe costumes, maybe makeup, maybe Jennifer Lopez. That's all I can say. I guess maybe production design if you really want. The trailer did remind me that some of the texts are pretty dazzling, but it just was not like the most memorable film for people at Sundance. And I've seen some say, well, maybe, you know, Sundance was obviously not the right audience, but what about when it goes to TIFF? I feel like Sundance is kind of like an audience that would like that movie. You know, like Sundance went nuts for Ballad of Wallace Island. They are an audience geared festival. Like people just didn't go gaga for that movie. Gotta jump in here and talk about a couple more movies. Project Hail Mary, probably not coming out this year, but allegedly test screen. It's supposed to come out in March 2026, which is weird for an Oscar contender, which is what this movie probably is. It sounds like sci-fi, right up the alley of like, you know, Arrival, The Martian, Interstellar. And it was said that the test screening looked like pretty complete. So like if this movie is done, they could push it to this year. Amazon could. So just throwing that out there, like if this got announced, for 2025, I would be predicting it immediately. And Nuremberg, which apparently is coming out in the fall, it's like Sony Pictures Classics. You got Russell Crowe. He's being like a dictator, Nazi type of guy. It's a World War II thing. Rami Malek's in it. Like, okay, in a sense, this is classic Oscar bait, but we get these movies every year that are just like kind of dull, brown-looking, brown-ass World War II dramas that play at like old people art house, not like cool hip city people art house theaters. That's what I think this is going to be. You can try to change my mind on that if you want to, but I just figured out about this movie like 2 weeks ago, so just putting that out there. Let's go to director. So I got, if Sinner's winning Best Picture, it's going to win director.
And it makes sense that it could win director with that scene.
People are floating the idea of a snub here, and I think that people aren't going to let that happen.
I think they're using like Inception snub for director to support this, or Ben Affleck for art, like other thriller like genre movies. I mean, Coralie Farjat made a genre film. It just really matters if you're considered prestige or whether you're relegated to the box of a box office.
Jordan Peele got nominated for Get Out. Like, I guess the question would be like, oh, it's a bigger budget movie than Get Out, and that's the problem. But look,
this is like an awards prestige film.
It is.
I mean, that's where it's different. I
mean, he pulled off some shit with it. Dune and Inception were not top 2 movies. Yeah. Barbie was not top 2 or 3. It was maybe like 5 or 6. Okay,
right. It's like the most nominated film. When have you had the most nominated film, Miss Director?
Oh, if it's getting double-digit nominations,
it is.
Yeah, sentimental value's kind of locked in, isn't it? I mean, even with 3 Cannes competition films in Best Picture last year, it has remained true that if you're in Cannes competition and you make it into Best Picture, there's your director nomination.
Yeah.
You can even get nominated without a Best Picture nomination, as we've seen with Another Round and Cold War.
I mean, Joachim Trier has made too many good films at this point to be overlooked. It wouldn't make any sense. He's going to get director.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like if people doubting like Sean Baker would get nominated.
I have Panahi in as well.
Yeah.
Again, I think Panahi could even get nominated without the movie, in some possible scenarios that we could be looking at.
And this would be a nice little return to like who we know the director's branch to be, because last year they nominated James Mangold.
James Mangold, him getting in and then Mel Gibson getting in for Hacksaw Ridge, like, it happens every once in a while, and we have to remember that, like, sometimes the legacy filmmakers who have been around for a while, like, get a treat.
I mean, which also makes me think, maybe we're skipping around a bit, but One Battle After Another, I think makes me think that Paul Thomas Anderson could get a surprise nomination.
You don't even have to call it a surprise. Like, that's obviously a contender for directing.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a contender. I have it at number 6, actually. I have Paul Thomas Anderson number 6. So.
I do too. Marty Supreme.
Yeah.
Josh Safdie. Like, if that movie's a really big contender, a top 5.
That seems like a potential double-digit contender, and so I'll put that in. Begonia, same thing, really. I mean, it's going to be a huge contender. Lots of nominations. And Yorgos Lanthimos is just such an auteur. His signature is in every frame of every film he does. So that would just be weird to overlook him if that was a huge contender.
Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein's kind of possible, but again, like, that's very much like kind of big budget blockbuster territory that maybe they wouldn't be so happy to see him going in. It's a IP. Yeah. I think the director's branch would probably be less keen for that. But Noah Baumbach for Jay Kelly,
maybe after Marriage Story, they're like, look, this is his second Oscar film. We have to nominate him this time.
Maybe.
If that's like a really big movie, like The Banshees of Inisherin, I mean, could be like Martin McDonagh, where, they snubbed him for 3 Billboards, and then they just nominated him for Banshees after that. So.
And people thought that that couldn't happen to Edward Berger, but he got snubbed twice as well.
He did.
So
Park Chan-wook for No Other Choice. I mean, if No Other Choice is in Best Picture or even close, like, I think that could definitely happen. That would be a lot of international films. I'd have to expect, like, it was just an accident to fall off at that point or something.
I don't think John Chu's going to get it for Wicked. Like, that'd be insane.
What?
I know some people are flirting with that, though. For the most part, I think that this is going to go along with Best Picture. I mean, so therefore, I don't have that much to say.
Yeah. Like, Rivals of Messiah King, again, if that gets acquired or something happens, I think Andrew Patterson could be nominated for that.
Yeah.
But again, it would be his first nomination. It's a little bit more risky.
But it's very stylish, and they're not afraid to nominate, noob directors, like, as long as they like the movie a lot.
There's a couple, like, Cannes long shots, like Claver Mendonça Filho for The Secret Agent or Oliver Locks for Surat. Like, they're on my list. Yeah, even Matcha Shalinsky for Sound of Falling, like, it's on my list.
Yeah, that's.
But I definitely don't expect it to happen.
I don't think so. I think we know the 2 strongest Cannes filmmakers here, and they're kind of obvious that it's Panahi and Trier. So in Best Actress, I have Renata Reinsvad number 1.
Yeah,
because she is supposed to be excellent in the movie. I mean, you tell me.
Yeah, she's definitely potentially winning an Oscar for this. Every lead performance she's given is fucking incredible. And this is just the latest in a string of amazing performances. So she's definitely worthy of getting an Oscar win. Like, I could definitely see it happening. It just depends who else comes out, who else challenges her for it. But it really could be hers at the end.
I mean, she's locked for the nom, right?
Yeah. I mean, it is a little bit of an ensemble film. Like, she's not in every scene. I would say she's maybe in like 70% of the scenes. I see no reason why not to put her at number 1. Julia Roberts, I have her at number 2. I think she's going to get nominated for After the Hunt, even if that film's not in Best Picture. Holy shit.
I agree I have her. I think it seems like a meaty role. It's a good comeback role as well. Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, I have her in because that role is going to be absolutely grueling. Like, she's going to be going crazy.
Yeah.
That's begging for a nomination. Even if the movie's not in Best Picture, there's no reason you couldn't have her come along.
I see that. I have Cynthia Erivo for Wicked in here because it kind of feels safe. Again, I think Wicked as a horse in general is like a 50-50. So I'm honestly not sure about Emma Stone and Begonia. I feel like we've just seen a lot of her.
But have you seen her be an evil CEO with a shaved head?
Yeah, but what's she get? I mean, she's not like a transformy actress necessarily.
Yeah, but
I wonder if it could just be like, all right, well, it's more about Jesse Plemons this year. I think she will be a lead, but she won't have the most screen time as a lead.
Right.
Maybe so on the cusp of a supporting.
What you're saying is we've awarded her so much that this time she could do that DiCaprio sidestep that he did for Flower Moon. And be
like, we don't need her to get another nomination because she was Poor Things, right? And it's not going to be the same situation with Begonia. It's not going to have as much like wind in her sail. I mean, we can't underestimate her acting skill.
Amanda Seyfried for Ann Lee, leading a musical biopic. I said it's a musical biopic, but it's a biopic that is a musical. It's not a musical biopic.
Or has musical elements, maybe.
Yeah, it actually may not be as much of a musical as we were saying. I think it's going to be a really interesting and challenging role that she will probably nail. Sydney Sweeney for the Christy Martin film.
Yeah.
She's definitely up and coming. And she could kill it in this role and really show some range.
It could also be one of those TIFF movies that has like a Beatty lead performance, but goes absolutely nowhere.
Absolutely, it could also be that. It's yet another boxing film, isn't it? There's always like 5 boxing films at TIFF every year that like they a little bit want to get nominated for a lead award, but it's not going to happen, and then nobody remembers the movie at all.
What about Tessa Thompson and Hedda?
Yeah,
I think that could certainly
say that
be
if
something.
You want.
I don't really know enough about what that project is going to look like. But it's certainly going to be a big role for her.
Of course, Jennifer Lawrence is also like next in line because that's very possible. Critics are saying it's one of her best performances in years. They'll probably nominate her a lot. The question is whether or not Jennifer Lawrence will be weak when it comes to SAG. Maybe she'll miss BAFTA. Maybe she'll be like Angelina Jolie for Maria. Mm-hmm. Critics said that was her best performance, and I didn't get in because the movie was a little off-putting.
Just because it's your best performance does not mean you're going to get an Oscar nomination for it. It should be very clear. I mean, people said Mother was her best performance, LOL.
I mean, look what happened with Tilda Swinton.
I would even agree with that. But
Tilda Swinton for We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Rebecca Ferguson for A House of Dynamite. I don't know if she is lead definitively, but I believe she will be either lead or like a category fraud supporting contender.
Olivia Colman ridiculously over for The Roses.
Oh yeah,
The Roses is out.
The Roses looks fun, but it's too goofy.
What about Rose Byrne and If I Had Legs I'd Kick You?
That's like the performance that I want to get nominated from Sundance that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think that movie's a little too aggressive and unpleasant for people.
She's absolutely worthy though. Like she should definitely be nominated for that film. Maybe it could happen.
She could maybe get into like she's not going to get SAG and BAFTA though. That's the thing. Like she might get Golden Globe drama. And
it would be a grassroots
even Critics' Choice. I don't
campaign.
I even think Critics' Choice aren't brave enough to do that.
Maybe she'd have to Andrea Riseborough it, right?
Yeah, but that movie was very like palatable.
You still have to watch that film and go, wow, that's an amazing performance. Like you can't, even if you don't like what it's doing.
Then there's June Squibb for Eleanor the Great, which got pretty mixed reviews out of Cannes. It should have come out at TIFF or Sundance. People like June Squibb in it, but I'm not seeing that like, oh, she's so good that she's getting nominated for this movie that's going absolutely nowhere as a contender overall. It is Sony Pictures Classics, but other than that fact, I don't think there's much of a case here.
No.
And then you have Jessica Lange for Long Day's Journey into Night, which still doesn't have distribution. It had the quietest festival premiere ever, and it's probably not even coming out this year because I don't know who has it. They're going to release it like quietly in March of next year or something.
Yeah, I would just need a studio to have this and just be confident they're going to give it a robust campaign. But
if Sony Pictures Classics acquired this movie, I might predict her. Or I'd put her at like number 6, you know?
I have Emma Mackey for Ella McKay. Like that actually makes a lot of sense. And we didn't really spend too much time on Ellen McKay in Best Picture. But the thing is, Emma Mackey's not transforming for the role. Like, she's playing a, young politician, right? Outside of Best Picture, if you're not transforming and you're not in like a biopic, it's kind of hard to predict you. Maybe given the fact that Sydney Sweeney is in a biopic, it makes her more palatable. There's Lucy Liu for Rosemead.
Yeah, we don't know what that is yet.
Yeah, we don't really know what that is. Amy Adams for At the Sea.
Amy Adams for At the Sea.
Director of Pieces of a Woman, which got Vanessa Kirby a lead actress nomination. Amy Adams projects, though, I mean, in themselves, they kind of have to cast doubt, right? Like, her choices in roles have just been like getting nowhere near the Oscars lately, and it's been like this. She's on a streak. She's on a hot streak of just snub after snub.
Also, I think that people are going to be like screaming about how we don't have Jennifer Lawrence in, and I just want to remind you about how I didn't have Nicole Kidman in for Baby Girl, and everyone freaked out and they thought I was insane for that. And look what happened.
It's kind of like that, actually. That's
a
a
Golden
very good
Globe Critics'
comparison.
Choice, Mrs. SAG, Mrs. BAFTA. Like, that's what we're looking at here potentially. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
You can't know that right now. You can't be that confident about that.
Yeah, I mean, we have her in the top 10, but I agree, it is kind of like Nicole Kidman and Baby Girl, because that movie doesn't have a shot to get any other nominations.
Lead actor. I'm going to put Jeremy Allen White at number 1.
This seems pretty safe.
I don't know that Timothée Chalamet is going to be giving a Titanic performance, and maybe he will, honestly. Maybe he will. But Jeremy Allen White is checking the boxes. And seeing him sweat on that stage...
no, he could definitely win for this. I mean, he's been, like, sweeping awards for The Bear, and everyone knows that show.
But Chalamet for Marty Supreme easily going to be in there as long as his film is.
Yep.
George Clooney for Jay Kelly, I think he comes along with the movie, as I could see some people saying, well, we kind of know what George Clooney does. Like, will he really surprise us that much to get nominated?
But he's always
here?
really good.
I know.
Like, remember him in The Descendants? This could be what people say is his best performance, period. Or his best performance since The Descendants. Like, I have no doubt. This is a Noah Baumbach film. Everybody in Noah Baumbach films gives great performances. He will probably make you laugh, make you cry. So if Jay Kelly's a Best Picture movie, you could bet.
And then we got Jesse Plemons in Begonia. And I see this as being a real shining star moment for Jesse Plemons. A big leading man moment for him. He was great in Kinds of Kindness. We saw the potential there with Lanthimos. I think that this is going to be... an even funnier, more elastic performance from him. I could just see him crushing it. And I know that there's no, like, major boxes, like, he's transforming or he's, like, doing this. But I think if you're just an exciting actor that people like, and you kill it in a movie and you kind of carry the movie, like, why not?
I mean, think about Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. I mean, he didn't need to, like, scream and cry to get an Oscar nomination. He just needed to be a beloved actor who was overdue, and it was his time. And he's also, like, leading the Lanthimos film. So, like, why wouldn't he get nominated if Begonia is a huge contender? Of course he would. Everyone loves Plemons. You love Plemons. I love Plemons. I have Daniel Day-Lewis in Anemone at number 5.
I was thinking about that because now that I'm a little lukewarm on Rivals of Amziah King, I do think it's fair to consider that maybe nobody's going to pass up on Daniel Day-Lewis this year.
But here's the thing. I have a lot of contenders in this number 5 slot that I want to put in. Wagner Moura, I think it's possible he gets in for The Secret Agent, but it is really hard for me to tell how that is going to go, how that campaign's going to be. It's not that it's a polarizing film. It's very well acclaimed, but the reactions vary a little bit. Critics are the highest on it. General people are like, they like it.
I'm going to go ahead and say he's like Andrew Scott, All of Us Strangers, maybe Tilda Swinton in Room Next Door. Like, yes, he has acclaim for the film.
I think he's going to be close. I could put him in based on just the fact that I think he's going to be close. Because I don't know what Anemone fucking is. No one knows what that is.
Do you think that he's going to, like, get a lot of critics awards?
I think he could.
Does he have a big Oscar scenes?
Not really. It would be more like the region, like the coastal critics groups giving him something. Because again, they would need to really like the film.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes coastal critics will try to like hype up somebody, and then they'll end up being like number 7.
It's not even Fernanda Torres where she's like crying a lot. It's not quite Oscar bait enough for me to put it in. But it's something that I think could happen.
I mean, it's kind of like how people were like, "Oh, Song Kang-ho and Broker, like." We're putting him in now. And it was like...
No, it's not like that.
I don't think you're doing that. People always kind of overhype the Best Actor award at Cannes. I mean, it did work for Antonio Banderas.
What do you think about Day-Lewis and Anemone?
I mean, he's going to be worthy, isn't he? Like,
right.
Isn't he just going to be worthy? Like,
I'm just going to put him in, maybe.
I think that's a totally fair number 5 because people might not want to pass him up. The Oscars love him. The industry loves him. Like, what are you going to do at a certain point?
I mean, he keeps saying, I'm going to leave, and then he comes back. So, like, that's kind of fun, right? We want to be, every time he comes back, we want to be like, oh, well, you're welcome here, buddy. Like, you should stay here.
Yeah, but, you know, this is not going to be his best movie.
No.
It's not going to get into Best Picture.
It has distribution, though.
Yeah, it's got focus features on it. It's got a good
Yeah.
cast, but, you know, it's his son is directing and writing it. And, hey, maybe it'll be, like, really good. Maybe his son's a fucking talent.
We don't know.
I think it's going to be, like, kind of a straightforward drama. That's my guess. I think Late Fame with Willem Dafoe is kind of similar to that, although he's maybe not as much of a Sasquatch as Daniel Day-Lewis. I think this is actually pretty crowded because even Rental Family, which I'm like,
Right.
I maybe put that in my 10, but I just don't have enough confidence to like assert Brendan Fraser yet. I mean, that could even be the case where Brendan Fraser's quite good, but it's really the supporting performances that are getting more attention.
Maybe. I think if Randall Family is in Best Picture, he probably comes in, though.
I think that's probably right. We didn't even talk about Leonardo DiCaprio in One Battle After Another. It looks very much like he's doing what he did in like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and so maybe we've seen him do this. And again, you know, I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio, he's got his Oscar, he's not that concerned about getting nominated over and over again.
And what I've heard is that it's not like his best performance. The hype's going to go more towards Sean Penn, and apparently like not even the supporting actresses are giving big enough performances that they would be nominated. So like the only acting prospect for this movie is Sean Penn. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is a Golden Globe comedy nomination, maybe a Critics' Choice nomination, and that's it. Michael B. Jordan. I really think this is going to be close. He's going to get the Golden Globe because they have a lot of slots. He'll get Critics' Choice because they're going to nominate Sinners up the gazoo.
Oh.
They're going to give it every possible nomination, including
20.
visual effects. They're going to nominate Sinners for 15 fucking awards at Critics' Choice. Just you wait.
15's an understatement. It's getting more than that.
He will get SAG because SAG, I think it's more of a populist film. I think it's like Margot Robbie and Barbie, where he'll be very close, and then BAFTA nominated Margot Robbie and Barbie, which is
it
kind
was
of
a juried
surprising.
year. It's kind of weird.
But still, why would the jury do that?
I think this is the correct analysis. Critics' Choice, Golden Globe, SAG, and then Mrs. BAFTA, because BAFTA is not going to like that movie as much. I don't know why they just aren't.
Like Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, they didn't, they liked it less. They still liked it a lot. But then it's going to come down to, okay, do we nominate Michael B. Jordan or Wagner Moura? It's something like
or
that.
like a Day-Lewis.
And why would I say he's not a lock?
I think he's
I don't know.
very
I just
good
feel like
in
the
it.
performance was like less showy. Like there wasn't an Oscar scene.
I don't feel like it's like his greatest performance or his finest hour that we'll ever see of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that?
Like I thought he was Oscar nomination worthy in Black Panther and in Fruitvale Station, and even I could even see it for Creed. I thought this was like less of a showcase for his abilities than those films.
in some sense, it was a showcase. He built two different characters.
No, I know.
It's also just
there's a narrative, but it's just not. It doesn't have like the gut punch for me, like where he would top my list of like best performances of the year.
He also very much has it's his time thing going.
Right.
Like Ryan Coogler is going to come along and win an Oscar, and you're not even going to bring Michael B. Jordan along
That's the
for
thing.
a nomination who's been there since the beginning. Like
That's
really,
the thing. If he didn't have the career that he did, I would say it's not going to happen. But he's Michael B. Jordan. He hasn't been nominated. He has a phenomenal career so far, and he's Ryan Coogler's right-hand man. They're Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese of the modern day. So it would be weird to leave him out. And I could see a lot of backlash if he doesn't make it in. I think it's close. I think we could consider putting him in 5.
he
But-
could be 5. But I think this is where he's going to end up at the end of the day. It's going to be this question of like, okay, is that BAFTA snub going to sting?
Yeah.
Or do the Oscars just love fucking Sinners so much?
I mean, he is in the Best Picture winning film, potentially. What's like a Best Picture winning film where they could have nominated the lead actor, but they didn't?
Parasite didn't get any acting nominations. George Mackay from 1917, I mean, that was close and he didn't get nominated.
Close. My personal feeling wasn't like I walked away from the movie going, oh, I would nominate that for Best Actor. But the optics of not nominating Michael B. Jordan would be really strange.
Dev Patel wasn't nominated for Slumdog Millionaire, but he was a newcomer.
We're talking about like a superstar actor here. Because here's the thing, if critics like are just like, duh, we're nominating Michael B. Jordan like everywhere, duh, then I'll be like, okay.
No, they did that with Margot Robbie for Barbie, though.
Yeah, you're right.
No, but it'd be like classic for the Oscars to snub him in a way.
Like I never believed in Margot Robbie for Barbie, and then when people started doing it, I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll
Right,
put
no,
her
that's
in.
what you're being pressured right now.
Yeah.
Because people will say, well, I know you didn't get BAFTA, but like, think about this, like, it's his time and all this stuff. And you're gonna say, okay, all right. And then
But
and
Hollywood
then he's gonna
also
get snubbed.
Hollywood is a inner club where it matters who you are.
Well, maybe you're Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, I just don't know what an Anemone is yet, so.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we could put him here for now and just we could have this debate after like the Fall Fest movies.
Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing Machine. The early word on this is that the Oscars are going to stay away from it. Like, it's fucking weird. I know that the trailer doesn't make it look that weird, but that's because it's the trailer. It's its job to make it not look that weird. He does look quite good in it. He is wearing makeup and he's doing this like soft-spoken demeanor thing. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's a contender.
I also want to mention Stellan Skarsgård could surprise us and go lead for sentimental value. It is possible. It would make sense. He is basically a co-lead. It definitely feels like a supporting performance in that he comes in like partway through the film. I just want to put that out there. It could happen. He could switch it up.
Supporting actress. Should I have Ariana Grande at number 1?
I do, but I don't feel good about it.
Why don't I put Elle Fanning at number 1? Isn't she really good?
Here's the
really
thing.
showy?
I don't know how you choose one of the sentimental value actresses to win over the other one.
Because Elle Fanning is more well-known and more showy?
I don't think she will win. And I also think it matters that there's like 2 really good performances and people can't seem to agree who's better. Some people vehemently believe that Inga Ipsdottir Elias is the standout and they don't really see like as much in Elle Fanning's performance. But on the other hand, I can see a lot of people saying like Elle Fanning was the standout and I've never seen Inga Ipsdottir Elias before. So that's why I think like they're both going to get nominated and it's going to be pretty breezy for both of them to get in there.
Well, I think Inga's getting snubbed for SAG.
Maybe. It could kind of be like Yura Borisov, though, where everybody has to nominate her.
Yeah, except
because
that
people
Elle
are
Fanning
hyping her up
exists.
so much.
Except that Elle Fanning exists.
Well, Banshees
in
of Inisherin, everybody got nominated.
Yeah, people already knew both of them.
It
She's
was.
not a name. That's all I'm saying.
I know it matters, but I do think they're both going to get
You're
it.
right. Stephanie Hsu did happen. I am predicting her. I have her at number 3 behind Elle Fanning, actually. I have them very close. And I have Laura Dern for Jay Kelly. Ariana Grande, though, I honestly don't know if the Academy is going to be like, okay, look, we've seen you in Wicked twice. We don't know if you get an Oscar for that yet. Like, we don't know what your capabilities are as an actress. Right. We don't know if you're Oscar worthy yet. Like,
she will have an Oscar musical scene, right? So that's important. She gets her own fucking song.
I don't think they're giving her an Oscar in the same way that, like, people were freaking out about, like, oh, maybe Wicked can win Best Picture. Like, maybe John Chu's going to get it. Like, there's just a limit to the Wicked love that is going to prevent her from winning an Oscar for this movie.
But I still think she would have won if Zoe Saldana wasn't in there.
Yes, that's true.
And again, she was competing with another musical.
Maybe
it took another musical performance that was basically a lead to beat her for her musical performance where she was a lead.
Let's not act like that was the strongest performance, most unbeatable performance ever.
I know, but the fact is, like, musical best picture, supporting actress, your category frauding into like supporting, it can definitely win you an Oscar.
I don't know who else I would put. Maybe Glenn Close will fucking win for Knives Out. Maybe honestly that's like a lone thing for Knives Out, is that Glenn Close is just gonna fucking win.
I don't think so. I'm happy leaving Ariana Grande at number 1 because she could win. I mean, it's good that she didn't win any awards last season, so this one, like, if the movie is the real deal, she could win. I don't think a supporting actress from Sentimental Value would win. I've been surprised before. You know, sometimes these fields get really thin, and we don't know what the fuck's happening, and we have to just scramble and decide, oh, it's actually this person.
Maybe Laura Dern wins for Jay Kelly and pulls a Christoph Waltz.
Who knows?
Winning supporting for twice for the movies of the same director.
I really think Gwyneth Paltrow is a contender to win. Or to get nominated.
Well, yes, to get nominated. I have her in. And then Angelina Lookingglass, again, like, Ravels of Amziah King, I don't know what to do with it
I'm
yet.
Just slipping it out of my categories.
I have a Debris for After the Hunt, very possible. I don't have
it's
her
number
in
6
yet.
for me.
Marie Yamamoto for Rental Family may get nominated if the film's in. Jennifer Lopez, Kisses of Spider-Woman.
I mean, look, Glenn Close for Knives Out mystery, that could totally happen. But I'm gonna stick in the people who I know are in Best Picture films first.
Emily Blunt in The Smashing Machine, a lot of people think she's getting nominated. It looks like she's doing plenty in the trailer as like the wife who's crying and supporting, you know, her husband. But just from what I've heard about the movie, it's like, oh, they will stay away from this. Like, maybe Dwayne Johnson can get nominated for Best Actor. I trust the reactions of the Oscars might like want to stay away from The Smashing Machine. I just don't have that much confidence in the film, and she just looks like she's doing the wife crying thing. I don't know.
She's very bronzed. I don't think that the Smashing Machine is going to touch the Oscars, except, like you said, maybe Dwayne Johnson.
You have Jamie Lee Curtis for Ella McKay. If there's a freaking SAG nomination for her, I'm not falling for it this time. Like, unless the movie's in Best Picture, I'm not falling for that.
What about Greta Lee in Late Fame? If Willem Dafoe is a contender for late fame, I do think she could come along.
I don't know what Alicia Silverstone's doing in Begonia. I'm not going to just put her in for being in the movie.
What about Fala Chen for The Ballad of the Small Player? I mean, Colin Farrell and her could be contenders, right? Like, Colin Farrell could be a Best Actor contender.
Yeah, I don't have any one battle after another actresses because I just heard they're just not in the movie enough. Like, everybody has said that so far. Going to supporting actor, we'll put Stellan Skarsgård at number 1 for sentimental value. This is a pretty good bet at this point of the year. It is his first nomination, but he's a veteran actor, and I think people could want to give him that big moment.
This is the kind of performance that could win him an Oscar. All that it depends on is whether someone else comes out and knocks your fucking socks off more than he does. Because at this point, he will win unless there's another amazing performance. We got to put him at number 1 right now, but I really am looking out for Adam Sandler and Jay Kelly. The early word is that he is incredible in the film.
If he steals the movie, then he could win.
I have Jeremy Strong for Deliver Me From Nowhere, which I feel just as confident about from the trailer.
It looks like a manager role, but maybe one with a little more heart. He has a stronger connection, really believes in Bruce Springsteen. He could be coming for a second nomination already.
Yeah, I have Delroy Lindo at number 4. I do feel pretty good that Delroy Lindo is going to happen. I actually think it's more likely than that Michael B. Jordan gets nominated, especially after a second viewing, and I do think people are watching Sinners numerous times. Delroy Lindo is a real standout. I mean, he has a couple of the most key scenes in the film that are crucial to understanding what it is about at a deeper level.
Yeah, but they come a little early.
But that doesn't stop people like Mahershala Ali from winning. You know, we give a memorable performance, memorable character, and you can still win. And he also, he delivers some laughs that I think are important. The only problem is that his character ultimately doesn't become that significant. Like, at some point, he feels kind of like just one of the people who are in the juke joint.
He just becomes comedic relief after a point.
But his character is very deep and very important. I asked myself, I would give him a nomination for it. I thought he was great in it. I love Delroy Lindo. I thought he was snubbed for Defy Bloods, brutally so. So this is a great time to give him, and he's also amazing in interviews. He can have some great conversations about this film. It really makes him feel like a staple of the ensemble. And I think with a solid campaign behind him, it could easily happen. We can make this happen.
I have Sean Penn for One Battle After Another. I continue to hear that he's really a standout. He's got enough screen time. He's got enough moments that if this movie's in Best Picture, he may very well come along. I don't see why he wouldn't if the movie's in Best Picture.
I mean, unless the movie's really weak, right? Now, I have Andrew Garfield for After the Hunt. I think that's a likely nomination. I don't know what to do with After the Hunt in general, but certainly if that became like a Best Picture lock, I would just throw him up in there. I think he plays the professor who has allegations against him. It's going to be a really good role. I think it's going to be a very good role.
Maybe
it's actually tempting not to put him in.
I mean, what if it's like him and Julia Roberts get nominated and that's it? It's like a Steve Jobs situation.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm tempted to put him in over someone else.
Should I delete Mark Hamill?
Maybe I will put him.
Should I delete Mark Hamill?
Honestly, you could delete him.
I'm deleting Mark Hamill. He's done.
I'll delete him.
There's no way. No way.
No, there's no way he gets nominated if Life of Chuck is on the cusp like that.
Paul Mescal for Hamnet. I mean, even that movie could go for the same 2 nominations as Steve Jobs, as we're saying, or like After the Hunt, a lead and a supporting. He's given a lot. Yeah. It's very emotionally grueling performance, and he's playing Shakespeare. You have Jonathan Bailey for A Wicked for Good. I mean, could we bring him along for the sequel?
I do think that could happen.
He has a lot of screen time. He doesn't have the dancing through life scene. I think that's kind of his moment, but
you're like, oh, we don't have this scene from like the first film, but how do you know he won't have another scene that becomes even greater or becomes the equivalent? Like,
I'm pretty sure that like that's his song in the entire Wicked thing.
Well, I know he has more of a presence in the second half, and he gets more complex. So
I think
this is possible.
Yeah, but I feel like the Oscars won't do this.
Will the SAG do it again?
SAG might do it again. I had Takahiro Hira for Rental Family in the top 10.
I think you said Akira Moto would be nominated.
Yeah, I did that last time, and he might be the grandpa, but I don't know. Takahiro Hira's in Shogun. He has more screen time. Look, no one's seen the movie. Well, I guess somebody has, but somebody from that movie, all right? Somebody.
I have Miles Caton pretty low here. I think this is going to suffer from newcomer syndrome, even though Miles Caton was very good.
I think some critics will try to do it, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Even like the betting markets, he's pretty high because people just it seems like people kind of know.
Woody Harrelson for Ella McKay, I think that could be possible. He's the politician that the protagonist is trying to unseat. It could be a good role.
Okay, so apparently Tyler, the Creator, has a really big role in Marty Supreme. And look, like, he'll probably be really funny in it. I don't think he'll get an Oscar nomination, but I guess that's worth looking out for. And, in the same way, somebody made fun of me, boohoo, for saying that Stavros Halkias is a contender for Begonia. look, I didn't have him in. I'm not going to put him in. I'm just saying that he might be really funny in the movie. And Jonah Hill got nominated for Wolf of Wall Street. So you never know. I'm allowed to put them on. That makes sense.
I have Marlon Wayans for him, like, very low.
No.
I don't think it's going to happen. Idris Elba in A House of Dynamite. Maybe he's lead. Like, I don't know where these category placements are going to fall. I mean, he is Idris Elba, so he is a leading man at this point.
He's never gotten nominated, by the way. It also, I think it will be an ensemble film. Maybe everybody's supporting.
Right. It could be like
he could
September
get
5.
nominated for that if it's in Best Picture.
I think after the trailer, we'll do an update for the patrons or the members, and we'll reassess like where that movie falls in our predictions. Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein.
Get away from me. He's too much makeup. Original screenplay. I'm putting Sinners at number 1. That is the most original movie of the year. This is the kind of movie that wins original screenplay. And yes, sentimental value is a major challenger here. Like, that could absolutely win screenplay.
Yeah. It's worthy of screenplay, but it reminds me of the showdown between Everything Ever All at Once and Banshees of Inisherin, where even I would say Banshees of Inisherin was a tighter script. Like, it was more, every single line was absolutely perfect. But that film still lost to Everything Ever All at Once because they loved it so much. And unless I'm wrong, and unless sentimental value is actually higher up in Best Picture than Sinners is, maybe sentimental value could win.
Sinners is also more conceptually original.
Yeah.
Whereas sentimental value, it's got the dialogue, I'm sure. We got Jay Kelly. That's a really good bet if that's in Best Picture, and maybe even if it's not. Marty Supreme, that will get nominated if it's in Best Picture. I guess I have It Was Just an Accident, but again, let's say that there are 6 films in Best Picture that are higher than It Was Just an Accident in Best Screenplay. Maybe It Was Just an Accident sits out in screenplay, even if it gets director and picture. This branch has been doing better at nominating the international films lately. Like, they did go for Drive My Car. They went for Worst Person in the World. So I think that It Was Just an Accident is a real shot here. It's very dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
The screenplay is a standout, isn't it?
Yep. It's a complex morality tale, and it is dialogue heavy, like you said. Some of it feels play-like. I think that would get nominated if that's a Best Picture film, and I could see that getting a BAFTA nomination.
Then there's After the Hunt, if that's in Best Picture. Rental Family, Rivals
Even
of
if
Empire
it's not
King.
in Best Picture, I think After the Hunt could get nominated.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And Sorry Baby is really the contender where it's like, okay, that may not be contending very much to Best Picture, but if the field is quiet enough,
it's not going to be quiet.
Which it doesn't seem like it's going to be.
It's original.
But if it was quiet enough, you could see it get in there. Kind of like The Big Sick.
Late fame from Sammy Birch, who did May December. Then I just have like Ann Lee, Ellen McKay, Is This Thing On?
No other choice.
House of Dynamite.
Adapted screenplay. I did put One Battle After Another back at number 1. I don't know what Begonia's doing. I don't know if Begonia's going to win screenplay. Like, Begonia's not a writer-director. And, last year Conclave won because it was just obviously, like, the pick there. But if One Battle After Another's in picture, even if it's low, like, maybe, hey, Paul Thomas Anderson, Oscar time, everybody, like...
Right, kind of like Women Talking. I mean, that was very low in Best Picture, and it still won screenplay.
Yeah, but the other contenders just weren't there for, like, they didn't make sense.
But that's the thing, this category is really slim. I mean, the only other Best Picture films I'm predicting right now are Begonia and Deliver Me From Nowhere.
Well, Begonia does make sense to win like that. It's the writer of The Menu, and it'll probably have great dialogue.
That's true. That's true. It might be more agreeable.
I don't know. I mean, at this point,
Paul Thomas Anderson's narrative couldn't get him an Oscar for Licorice Pizza.
Yeah, that's because Kenneth Branagh's narrative was there, and Kenneth Branagh...
What narrative?
Oh, that man was nominated a lot of times. That was also like his 11th nomination.
People also liked Belfast better. And if you think Begonia is going to be a top 5...
Yeah, but again, Kenneth Branagh was still a writer-director. That's still a stronger trend. It's a very strong trend. That's why I'm putting Paul Thomas Anderson at number 1, just because it's a writer-director.
Conclave just happened.
Yeah, I know. It just happened. Congratulations. Wait another 10 years till it happens again, all right?
Well, we can agree to disagree here, actually. I don't begrudge you. I think that's the right way to think about it.
Deliver Me From Nowhere is here just because. It's just because. Then Wake Up Dead Man I will put in. I think this could go very much the same way as the last few movies.
Yeah. And it's not that crowded here, so.
Now, at number 5, I don't want to put The Life of Chuck in anymore. I'm done.
Neither do I.
I
don't feel like it.
So what will I do instead?
You have lots of good picks here, actually.
I won't do Hamnet unless I have it in Best Picture. I think Train Dreams could maybe sneak into screenplay, but that's a little silly.
No, here are your options. Let me tell you. Ballad of a Small Player. That's an option.
It's an option.
A Netflix film. It's probably going to be very good. It probably will be very good, even if it's not in Best Picture. I'm telling you, I know what you're going to say, but Nirvana the band, the show, the movie.
Good luck.
Borat contender.
Good luck.
We'll see if it takes off in the United States,
Borat
but-
was a box office smash.
Well, yeah, but this could be, I don't know, maybe it'll be a
This
sensation.
movie's gonna make as much money as Friendship at best, and not even.
No Other Choice. You know, maybe if you have no other choice, that could be a reason to put in No Other Choice.
Oh, Frankenstein. I mean, if I don't think it's in Best Picture, it probably won't happen.
Hedda, Wicked for Good, I guess is. I guess Wicked for Good could
Honestly,
get nominated a second time around.
That'd be, you know, if the field is weak enough, you could say Wicked.
I mean, it almost got nominated last year. Preparation for the Next Life. Maybe that's a category where this could get in, but again, we don't know. We don't have a distributor. Like, we don't know what the fuck's going on. So
Maybe you just have to put in Hamnet and say, look.
I'm not gonna put in Hamnet. I mean, maybe The Life of Chuck could get in.
Nope.
No.
I'm telling you, it's done. They're gonna find something else. I don't think we know what it is. I
Why
just think
not?
they're gonna find something else.
I could put Battle of a
It's a big
Small
deal,
Player
adaptation.
in.
What about The Running Man? The Running Man is conceptually heavy, although it's kind of an action movie.
You have to keep Life of Chuck. You have no choice.
No, I could put in No Other Choice, but if that happens, it's getting in Best Picture. You could put in Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. It blew away a very specific crowd. Holy fuck, do you know what the average rating is on Rotten Tomatoes? It has a 9.4 average rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. See, this is gonna get an 100 on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's actually
Oh,
gonna
it's
have
gonna
be a
100.
Paddington 2 situation.
And you can't ignore movies that get 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. We should put it in.
All right, fuck it, I'll put
Fuck
it
it.
in. I'm putting it in.
Do it.
Oscar nominee Matt Johnson.
It makes sense. Both the Borat films got in.
Okay, that's
The
different.
only
That's
thing
different.
they
That's
do.
different.
It's different because you don't know how much box office this thing can do.
No, we do know that it won't do that much box office.
I mean, it is neon.
I will say though, like sometimes
sense.
satire films like The Death of Stalin make it in, but maybe it's like also Four Lions. How close was Four Lions? I need to know this. It didn't even get a BAFTA nomination. Four Lions got a couple of screenplay nominations from critics groups, but
Didn't need
it was
it.
also an original screenplay. I'll put in Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie at number 5.
if it's the funniest movie of the year, it could get nominated. That's the thing.
I'm just putting it in because Life of Chuck, I just don't want. And then I look around and I say...
You want to chuck
Huh.
it.
I would say that 42% of me doing this is a meme, but also I a little bit think
So in
it's
other
real.
words, 58% of this is you doing it seriously. So like, why? So it's not
Yeah.
a meme. It's
Yeah.
not a meme.
Oh.
I stand by it. This is the most likely thing out of this list that'll get nominated. Look at it's gonna have 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's gonna be part of the marketing campaign. You have to see this comedy with 100 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, but it's based off of a TV show that nobody knows.
It
We'll
could
do
happen.
We'll do it.
It makes sense.
And those are our Oscar predictions for June. Maybe we'll do a below the line. I don't know if things have changed that much, but we could consider that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
How long do you think Sinners will remain at our #1 slot?